Shalom. Allah start out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Haraka Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders great millstone. Salutations to the Ophalet. This pushing this truth across four corners of the earth and offer truth and sincerity. I'm gonna want to buy back giving the sitting real quick. This we're going to this video I ran into on TikTok. Just going to about, it said, the title said they control everything now. So who's the they, so, but I'm gonna play the video, right? So here we go.
Food. They control the.
Hold on, turn this up. Play it again.
So they control the food, they control the air, yeah, they control the weather, they control the medical system, and they control the education system. They control the prices, and they control inflation. They even control how much money you make. They control the taxes, and honestly, they control the world. They control the wars. They control who's fighting. They control your mind, believe it or not. They cause the divide. They cause us to fight because then that gives them more control. They're making people sick. They keep people sick. That makes their money, plain and simple. They control what you think. They control what you know. They control what you see. They control what you believe. They keep people dumb, honestly. They make you think that people like me are crazy because that keeps you trapped. They tell you fluoride is good for you, right? They put it in your water. They make you brush your teeth with it. But what it actually does is calcifies your pineal gland, stops you from being able to see the things they don't want you to see. And, they push pharmaceuticals because that keeps you blind. They do all of this because they want to control everything. And they want you to have one world. And they want to take the power of every country. And that's why they're starting wars in all of these other countries. Because those countries are not on the same system as the rest of us. They're not under the Rothschild banking system. So just keep an eye out. Maybe listen to people like me. So they can...
So... it goes to that, so who's the they? Who's doing all this, and who's in control? What he was just going to, everything he was going to about they control this, they control that. The ones that's in power, that is controlling, everything that he went into, the prices of the money, and said, the resources and stuff like that, right? Using with the toothpaste and everything, the fluoride, the poisoning your food, and messing with your your food, your hygiene stuff, and the fouling your food, and and so forth, right? Poisoning your hygiene, hygiene products and stuff like that, man. Putting poison and stuff that you use daily, right? You think that it's good for you, but it's poison. It's poison. Slow kill, right? It's messing you up inside. It's the ones that's doing that. The ones pushing out these lies and deception. It's the so-called white people, red Edomite doubles, the Edomites. That's the ones that's doing. That's the ones that's in power. They the one that are that's in control right now. But the lawyer Howard Basham is gonna bring these so-called white people, red Edomite devils out of power, man. Soon. But I'll get some scriptures. To back this up, because I ain't want to make this too long. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. So, like I just said, the wicked. Who's the wicked? The so-called white people, red Edomite doubles. They the ones that had control of this and that, and, got the people, all confused and, putting out lies and deception. They think that, what they saying is the truth. It is not, misleading people in the wrong direction. They think that it's true, but it's not. What they putting out there in the media, on TV or whatever. You know, these wicked Edomite devils. You know, they gotta get out the power seat, man. But they will. They gotta get out the way, man. You know, and like I said, these other nations are starting to see, for what these so-called white people, red Edomite devils are. Nothing but liars, man. Liars, you know what I'm saying, and deceivers, man. You know, and more, as the days and the months go by, the years. These other nations, like, man, these damn devils, these so-called white people, red Edomite devils, are just, they full of shit, and the people, other nations start to catch on to the lies and deceptions of these so-called white people, red Edomite devils, and that's by way of the apostles and the elders of Brother Graham Stone that's teaching this truth through the spirit power, of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Give you understanding of the word and understanding of who is the wicked, according to the Bible. Who's the one, who are the ones that got the world like it is. People are stressed out, and so forth, right? Greed. Why everything's so high? Why we gotta pay for this and pay for that? It's because these so-called white people, red Edomite devils, is in power. That's why. In the men of the Lord, apostles, and the elders and the brother Graham Stone for years been saying it, for years. On the highways and byways on the internet, been telling you, hey, who the one got everything like it, like it is right now? Why is the America, this place, America, Babylon the Great, in the earth and everything, in this world so messed up, it's jacked up, is because of the so-called white people, red Edomite devils that's in power. They the ones got everything messed up. And like I say, they put out the lies and deception. And it says, right, Job 9:24, he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So they put up, that false image of the Lord, who y'all call Jebus. That's Caesar Borgia. How you want to say his name? Caesar Borgia. They paint him as the Lord being as a white man. That's not true according to the Bible. The depiction of the real, the depiction, the Revelation 1, describes how the Lord Yahweh shall look. Hold on real quick. So so Revelation 1. Revelation 1, 12 on down. It describes how the Lord, who y'all call Jebus, in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, it describes how he looks. And in the prophets as well, right? The real men of the Lord, the prophets, the true Israelites, the real chosen people of the Lord, dark skinned, brown skinned, different shades of brown, all the Israelites, that's how the Israelites truly look. But you got these so-called white people, red Edomite devils. They got, they put these, these false images in these churches or whatever, to have people think, the Lord was a white man, the apostles, the disciples were white people, and so forth. The chosen people of the Lord are white. Them wannabes. Those them folks that call themselves over in the land of Israel right now, those Israelis, those are not the real people. They are false claiming, and claim to be what the people of the Lord, but they not. The true people of the Lord, the chosen people of the Lord, is the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Israelites, and the so-called Mexicans, Issachar, the Issacharites, so that's the true people of the Lord, right? You know, the 12 tribes. You got the 12 tribes. You know, Judah on down to Issachar. You know, you're going to the 12 tribes. But, you know, these Edomite doubles got, you know, the world messed up. They got, you know, like I say, they got the people confused and they messing up. They start these wars so they could get, they go like the video said, you know, they start these wars so they could try to go into these other countries to influence other countries to be like America, you know, and to take their resources as well, you know, and you know, and that's what they do, man. They just spread lies and deception, and they are the cancer of the earth. And what they do put, what they do present to these other countries, or whatever, is not beneficial to their country, to their people. You know, it doesn't. It's nothing good. It's nothing good about what their influence is. You know, it leads to nothing but death and destruction. You know, and that's why these so-called white people, Esau, the man devils, got to be, you know, removed out of power. And the one that's gonna do that is the one that's gonna do that is Lord Yahushua when he returns in chariots, so-called UFO with the angels, right? But go from there. I did not want to make this too long. Go to excuse me. So go to Proverbs 29 and 2. Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So hey, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So who are the righteous? The righteous are the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites. You know, the chosen people of the Lord, right? So-called Negro, Latino, Natives. You know, so-called Mexicans, which are the tribe Issachar. You know, like I said, the 12 tribes, Judah on Issachar on down. You know, I mean, the 12 tribes from Judah on Issachar down to from Judah down on to Issachar. You know, Judah being the so-called Negroes, on down to Issachar being the so-called Mexicans, right? Like I say, the 12 tribes. We go into it, but you know, those are the true people. Those are the righteous, you know, people of the Lord. You know, when the so-called Negro, Latino, Israelites get in power, you know, starting with the elect. You know, in these times right now, Lord Yahweh only concerned about the elect of Israel, of the Israelites. You know, not all his people right now that he's concerned with, because you know 2/3 just they lost in the sauce. They with this system. You know, they don't want to come to the wisdom of the Lord Yahweh Shah that the apostles and the elders and the brother and great minister are teaching. They rather, you know, be subscribed to the so-called white man Esau, my system ways, and you know, and it's going to destroy them. But when the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Israelites, you know, the chosen people of the Lord, starting with the elect, like I said, Lord Yahushua, you know, King David, you know, the house of David, governing the body, you know, like I said, the elect. You know, once once Lord Yahushua, you know, take these so-called white people, Esau, Edomite devils out of power. Excuse me, take these so-called white people, Esau, Edomite devils out of power. These red wicked devils, you know, out of power. You know, the righteous gonna be set up. You know, on the earth. You know, it's gonna be, you know, in righteousness. You know, right now, everything is being ran in wickedness. You know, by these so-called white people, red Edomite devils, right? You know why? That's why the people are the people are in mourning. They mourning right now. You know, people are just, like I say, tired, depressed, and you know, you know, stressed out. You know, wondering, you know, they're gonna, you know, have enough money to pay for whatever. Or trying to get a job when jobs not hiring. You know, got this AI taking over robots, you know, taking people's jobs, and people getting laid off, and they don't know what they're gonna do. You know, just the uncertainty, you know, because of these greedy so-called white, red Edomite doubles, man. You know, people on these drugs, on these pills, whatever, trying to cope with the, you know, just being, you know, the depression, you know, and the pain, and you know, just, you know, trying to, you know, just being numb. They're trying to numb themselves to the, the things of what they see, you know, the problems of of this system that is got the people uh just lost, right? It's nothing good about what these so-called white people, East Sodomite devils, are, doing. What they're pushing out to the people. Their unrighteous decrees and laws. Got the people, on I say, kind of on edge. You gotta try to do everything. You got to do the best, do the right thing. Do rightly as possible. You don't get locked up or whatever. Even if you do right, still trying to find a way to lock you up because of whatever. Right? It's just that's why I said this system got to be. That's why these so-called white people, red Edomite devils, got to get out the power seat, man. And for the most part, those unrighteous decrees, they really aim towards you so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Israelites, and you so-called Mexicans, Israelites, y'all to be to oppress Israel, the Israelites, the true people of the Lord, like I said, so-called Negro, Latino, natives, so-called Mexicans, but like I said, man, hey, we at the end of this thing. Hey, these Edomite devils ain't got too long to be in power, man. Lord Yahushua gonna remove these devils out of power, man. It's just like the rest of the prophecy gotta play out. And like the days are moving by fast, man. The days are moving by fast. The time speeding up, man. These devils ain't got too long. But like I say, it's gonna be a real, it's gonna be some real rough times ahead. That's gonna come upon this place, America, Babylon the Great, because the Lord Yahweh Shai is gonna bring hereafter judgment upon this place. But only the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Israelites, and Mexicans, so-called Mexicans, gonna make it out of the out of these the town of Jacob's trouble. All hell breaking loose here in America, Babylon the Great. This place just America just going to chaos or whatever. Only the elect gonna make it out. Hopefully, I'm part of righteous number, right? Be a part of righteous number. Lord Yahweh Shai, have mercy upon me. Have mercy upon me. I get delivered. And in these times going forward, especially I say when things really get, crazy out here, and chaotic, So I didn't want to make this too long. So hope this was edifying. Lord willing, hope this was edifying. So again, I'd like to give our praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Harakakadash, to the apostle elders, to the Sisakim brothers, to the few Akwaf sisters that do listen. Keep the faith in Yahushua. Keep fighting with that. Say Shalom.